How many times have you done that? Walk down a logging road or walk down a ridge line up in the day on your favorite call, calling in hopes of that gobbler gobbling, and you can go set up and start hunting that particular gobbler. We all do it. That's what turkey hunting's about. However, many times in life we want to take shortcuts, and turkey hunters are some of the world's worst by wanting to take shortcuts, and many times them shortcuts is going to cost you turkeys that you might could have killed, but you've already spooked them way before you ever heard them or even seen them. They saw you because of where the location of where you was calling at. The shortcuts that many people want to take is by walking in very open places and walking flat places. So we get on top of a ridge. You'll see hunters get right on top of a ridge where it's straight, especially in mountainous country. They'll get right on top of that ridge for two reasons. It's easier to walk, and they want that call to get out there. Hey, I understand that. I want that call to get out there also. But you got to remember something, especially in the early season like this, when most seasons open up and the woods are wide open, it still looks like deer season. Them gobblers can see you way before you ever see them. And if you're up here on these ridge lines and you're calling, that sound is going off down these hollers and on these benches and on these little points where these turkeys could possibly be. And way back here, you were calling, and so their attention was already up in this area, but all of a sudden they see this thing walking skyline, even if it's 200 yards or even if it's 150, 200, they see something moving out there that just don't quite look right. And he never gobbles, but his attention is already there because he heard you calling way back here, and that call got closer and got closer. All of a sudden his attention gets up there more. He sees you. All right, you've already spooked him. That's why he ain't gobble. That's why you didn't hear nothing. That's why you ain't gonna hear nothing, because you've already spooked the turkey and didn't even know he was around. By calling in the wrong places, you can really mess yourself up. But again, it's shortcuts. We don't want to walk in hard places. We don't want to walk in a brush line. We don't want to walk on a bench. We don't want to walk on a steeper side of the hill because it's a little bit harder to do. We want to walk down a logging road. We want to walk where it's dirt. This road right here is a lot of dirt in it, so it's quieter to walk. We see it, man. Yeah, I like that because we don't have to worry about breaking sticks as much. Even if we're walking quiet, we don't have to worry about leaves as much. If we get over here, it's a little bit noisy, so it's a shortcut. But them shortcuts can really cost you on gobblers. And because you're calling and you're walking in a skyline situation where they can see you long before you see them. So instead of taking shortcuts, this is what we're going to do. We're going to not call right on the ridge line where we're skyline, or walk the logging roads if that logging road is close to the top of a hill. We're going to actually get on the sides of the hill around the benches, and we're going to work that. You say, well, if the turkeys are below me though, won't I still be above them? That's right. However, but you've got a lot of more timber and you have a lot more trees and brush line around you that from a distance you're going to be a lot more concealed. Now you still want to go through there quiet, you still want to take all the precautions possible. However, you're going to be a lot more safe by going around the benches, and you're not going to be skylined up there on top of a ridge. Also, you want to always make sure that you're up against the tree or standing right close to a tree when you're calling. That way, if you do get a response, you can stand there and still be concealed a little bit, or just slide down the tree and sit down if he's really close. But you can make a game plan and not be stuck out in the wide open and have to try to get to a tree or try to get over here real quick and try to get for cover, because that could be the time that he sees you. So you want to take all this precaution and you want to think ahead long before you call, because it don't take but that one time for them eagle eyes to look up there and see something they don't like, and they're not going to gobble. You'll never know he's on the place, and he's already going to be out of there. And you're probably not going to get a turkey at all, but many times that happens. I can't tell you how many times over the years, on public land or even on some private land where I've got permission to hunt, and somebody else will be on that property, or you'll see the neighbor on their property over there, across the fence line. They'll walk right up on top of a ridge, and you can see them out there, especially in open timber in early season like this. You can see them out there 150 yards. A man can see them. Imagine a turkey. Imagine them, I mean, that's why many times they don't gobble, is because you've already blowed it. So make sure to hunt not on top where you're skyline, but stay and walk these benches and use the terrain to your advantage, because that's going to help you locate a lot more gobblers. Here's another shortcut that many times turkey hunters do. Now, many of us ain't fortunate enough to hunt a place where we have multiple gobblers gobbling. You know, I mean, sometimes we only have one turkey that's gobbling, and that's the one we have to go to because we know where he's at, and we're going to try to get on him. However, if you're lucky enough to hunt a place where there's multiple turkeys gobbling, let's say you got 3, 4, 5 gobblers gobbling in an area that you can hunt. You know, maybe it's 200 yards, 3, 4, 500 yards radius. You can hunt, and man, all these gobblers are just gobbling in that area. Do you know the shortcut that a lot of people make? They'll go to the wrong turkey, and you know the wrong turkey they'll go to many times? The one that's closer. Now the one that's closest, we think, oh man, that's the one I'm going to go because he's right here, all the others is over here, so I'm going to go to that one. But many times that ain't the right one to go to. What you need to do is not take the shortcut and run to the closest one. Stop and listen, be patient, stop and just well, but it's getting daylight, we got to go set up. Hey, just be patient. They ain't going nowhere. You know, they're not going anywhere. Just stand there and be patient and listen at how each turkey is gobbling and where he's gobbling. This will help you many times. The one that's closer to you, he may be the right one on that particular day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes he's not, but the shortcut is to go to the closest one. You've done it. Y'all know you've done it. However, the one that may be on this ridge top or the one that's gobbling back over here, if you'll just listen by the way he's gobbling, that'll tell you the one that will probably work better. This one, if he's gobbling, the closer one, if he's only gobbling just a few times, you know, or maybe he's down low, you know, he's close to a field or something, and he's down here, and he's maybe just not saying much, but he's gobbling every once in a while. Listen, probably got hens. Think about it. Probably got hens. He don't really have to gobble very much, and he's probably henned up. However, the one that's gobbling the most are the one that's staying up high, and he's staying up way up, you know, kind of high up on a ridge or something, or up higher than, say, the others. That is the turkey many times that you want to go to. Why? Because he's staying high. Even after they fly down, he's staying up high when all the others went low, or they went over here and they got hens with them. If he's staying up high on the ridge top, or he's staying up, you know, on a bench somewhere, he's wanting to be heard. He's wanting to get his gobble out and attract hens, and he knows by staying up elevated he can see further, so he can see hens coming to him, or he can get his gobble out and, you know, they can hear. So that's the one that you want to go to, because that's the one that's usually is by itself and he don't have hens, which is going to be a more workable turkey. I have actually left gobblers that's gobbling 75, 80 yards just under the hill, and go to the one that's 200 yards that I have to get to a pretty good ways and wind up killing that turkey, because just by the way he was gobbling, I could tell that one's probably by itself, wound up killing that turkey, where this one had hens with him, you know, and gobbled a few times and you never heard from him again. But if I would have just went to that one, you know, it's been sitting there probably, and, you know, may have killed him, may have not. But I knew by the way that some of these turkeys were, you know, just the way they were acting, they were by themselves. So shortcuts, they're not always the best. Sometimes they are, most of the time they're not. So just remember them little bitty things this turkey season, and it will help you maybe put your tag around a gobbler, maybe that you wouldn't have if you took a shortcut.